Supervisor Federici,
Here.
Councilman Fancher,
Here.
Councilwoman Mattice,
Here.
Councilman Frogman,
Here.
Councilman Smith,
Here.
Barry Sutton here, Jim Cobb,
Here.
Marie Stuber, Diane Williams here, Tyler Lotta,
Here. Okay. Thank you very much.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Privilege of the floor is what we usually do at this point, but I want to read something first, okay? And then we'll do privilege of the floor. What I'm going to read is the privilege of the floor for the Conesville Town Board meetings effective January 1st, 2014. And I'm going to read it in its entirety because I think it's important. As provided by the New York State open meeting laws, all town board meetings are open to the public and all our town residents are encouraged to attend. Although not required by law, the town board offers privilege of the floor to provide our residents with the opportunity to voice their opinion or address questions, concerns, or ideas to the board. As such, it is important meetings be conducted in an orderly fashion with mutual respect and civility of all parties present. The exercise of the privilege should never be with the intent to use the board meeting as a personal forum or to promote a candidacy, nor will loud or abusive behavior, personal attacks, profanity, or derogatory language be tolerated. As a procedural matter, those wishing to exercise the privilege of the floor should register prior to the meeting to be recognized first. After those who have registered have spoken, if time permits, those not registered will have the opportunity to speak. Though 3 to 5 minutes is a reasonable time to present an idea or question, the board may extend the discussion as appropriate. After privilege of the floor requests are completed to start the meeting, those wishing to add to or inquire on the subject being discussed may do so at the discretion of the board if they ask to be recognized. This probably is one of the most generous, and I've done some calling around, the most generous privilege of the floor policy that in the area that I know about. A lot of places, they do have privilege of the floor, 3 minutes and out, no questions, no give and take, and that's it. There's nothing else. We don't want to do that. We really don't. But I think we're going to have to put some structure into this because it seems to have gotten away from us a little bit. And we had a good thing going where people could raise their hand and say something. Unfortunately, it only takes 1 or 2 people to ruin it for everybody else. I don't want to abandon this, but we're going to, for a while, be a little bit more stricter on how we follow it. So we're not going to take questions, or somebody's not going to raise their hand in the middle of a discussion by the board members. We just have to remember this is a business meeting of the Town Board of Conesville to conduct the business. Everybody, even if we didn't think they were welcome, but they are, we're required to have open meetings, and we will do that, of course. Now, I do know there are some people who will accuse us of taking away their right of free speech. This is not the forum for free speech. And I'm going to read a letter here that was sent to Mr. Ruckle by Christian L. Smith, senior attorney at the Committee on Open Government. And I'm not going to read the whole thing unless you want me to. I'm just going to read the germane points. Mr. Ruckle, that was copied on this. The Committee on Open Government is authorized to provide advice and opinions on the open meetings law and freedom of information law only. Some of your questions and concerns fall outside the OML and are therefore outside of advisory jurisdiction. I think the most germane point here is, third, OML does not give the public a right to participate in or comment during an open meeting. The OML gives the public the right to attend and listen to public meetings. Therefore, the right to stream or record a meeting does not also come with the right to narrate or comment during the meeting. Although public bodies are under no legal requirement to take public comment, they may choose to do so. When a public body decides to allow for public comment, they are free to and are encouraged to create rules governing public comment. The rules created must then be applied equally to everyone, including when during the meetings comments will be permitted and the length of time each speaker may speak. Sincerely, Christian L. Smith, Senior Attorney. My point here being is, we had a good thing going and I want to keep it going. But right now, I do believe we're letting things get a little bit out of hand. Some people aren't respecting the privilege of the floor. We've seen that. I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to allow it. So, we're going to move the privilege of the floor now, and I'm going to ask if you want to say something, because this is the first time we're having this discussion. I'm going to ask if there's anything, if you have signed in for privilege of the floor, you're welcome to your 3 to 5 minutes, and we will hear you out. So, Carrie, did anybody sign up for privilege of the floor?
Oh, yeah, hi, I did.
Can you just stand and say your name, please? Get a little louder so they can hear you on the...
Okay. Actually, I was going to change my mind because this is my first time.
You're welcome. No,
And I felt a little bit rude. You
No.
know, a little bit intimidating.
No, it shouldn't be intimidating. Like I said, our privilege of the floor is probably one of the most generous around.
Okay, yeah, well, you know, I took Toastmasters. You're very good, I'm telling you, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you for the energy and time you put in, you know, working the town. I've been here for a while, and everything seems to run. I basically, I'm like a hermit, so, you know, try to avoid things. I know Tyler, actually, my new neighbor, and Tyler's doing a great job, I'm telling you.
Well,
I saw, I was reading the minutes,
road?
the culverts and the reports, and then you gotta do paperwork too, right? Anyway, to get to the point, I just had an idea that I had talked to John about, and he said, oh, why don't you mention it? Okay, I'll mention it. And the idea has to do with forest management and the problems that are evolving with drier weather and fire risk, and, you know, now Canada. And, you know, I know my own property has a lot of trees, maybe too many. I'm thinking, well, maybe I need to thin it out, or maybe I need to, you know, cut some. And so that was the question, you know, is there something, you know, as opposed to just some information statement, you know, maybe stronger recommendations that what people should do on their own property to maybe help, you know, in the event of some really dry weather, and help, you know, protect. And maybe even on a broader scale, you know, the state or the county, what the thinking is, you know, maybe modeling, or, you know, seeing where all the dry wood is, because I know in the forest there's a lot of dead wood, a lot of fuel.
Yeah.
So that was my concern, and that's...
No, you know what? You bring up a very good point. I mean, I don't pretend to know all this, but I know the DEC has guidance on that. And that's one of the reasons you've seen some of these clear cuts around town, particularly on Durham Road and places like that. It's because of that very reason. It's not because they're selling the timber. It was planted by the CCC back in the 1930s. It's no good anymore. It's really just junk wood. But they're doing that because of that very reason that you brought up. But there's a lot of state lands here that were planted over, particularly with this kind of stuff, not hardwoods, but conifers, I suppose, that will burn very easily. So what I would like to do is I'll make a contact with the DEC. I'll try to make a contact with the DEC. They're not that easy. And I will see what kind of guidance is out there, and if they have any plans. And I will report that back at the next meeting.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments. Anybody else sign in? Does anybody else want to sign in? Okay. Let me just say before we go forward, there's two changes that on the original agenda that I had sent out. I have a budget amendment that I didn't think would be ready, but it was ready, so I added to the agenda. And there's something else I'm going to read when we get to it. So we will proceed, and we will go to the assessor's report.
Dear board members, the board assessment review was held on June 5th, 2023. I had received one application for the board and had 5 agreement stipulations to submit. We had 2 applications that our board heard from the town of Broome because the applicants were on that town's board of assessment review and had to be heard elsewhere per the rules. We also had 2 walk-in applications that I requested to be heard during an adjourned date so that the applicant's case and my case could be heard on the same day. The rules state that if the applicants do not submit their application to me 3 business days prior to the grievance day, I have the right to adjourn the date to review their complaint and documentation provided. Often that review that I am able to do can result in both parties coming to a mutual agreement. The board can set the date to reconvene, or the board set the date to reconvene on June 19th at 5 p.m. I'm attaching the proposed county law for the changes to the current fire and EMS exemptions. I do have a few recommendations to consider to add to this for Conesville. 1, clarification. In the law, only 1 exemption per primary residential home. I am asking that this be added because I have seen where 2 members of the services apply for the exemption for the same primary residence, resulting in 2 exemptions on that parcel. 2, allow for residents who are on other Schoharie County services as an active member to apply for the exemption in the town they reside in. Some people belong to an EMS in another township. Require that members have served in the organization for a minimum number of calls per year. In other towns, we have noticed that active members under 20-year membership that makes it a lifetime have been on 0 calls or just 1 call in any given year. Require the organization head to provide yearly end of December with current active list of all members showing the number of calls responded to. Or it could just be stating that they have met the requirements required by law, by the law of the town the town has enacted, but I could not monitor that as accurate, and I am responsible providing it if asked by the state. I hope to have this law all worked out before the end of the year so I can reach out and get an updated application completed for the current member for March 1st, 2024. The office is open now by appointments only. Marie Stuper.
Okay, thank you. Just want to comment about the tax exemption for volunteer fire and ambulance workers. There was originally, we talked about this at the beginning of the year. There's already one in place, but this one supposedly is even better for people that are members of those organizations. And but for whatever reason, some of the assessors, as well as the real property tax officer, asked that that be pulled back, and they reworked it. And this is the end product here. I haven't had a chance, just saw it like last Friday, to compare it to what the other one was, but I'm hoping that nobody is going to have any kind of serious objection to passing this. But we'll formally put that out there and go through the local law process in the next month or 2. I mean, we have until March, but obviously she wants to do it sooner so she can be better prepared to help people, which is a good thing. So, may I have a motion to accept the assessor's report?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. A motion from Bob, second by Carl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Surprised none of you guys saw that I jumped ahead on the minute.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I sent you the minutes from the April 10th meeting, and obviously I have printed copies here also, and there's also a draft of it's on the internet. So if you've looked at them and have any questions, now's the time, or make a motion to approve them. Or take another look at them here too.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay, Lori makes the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Second by Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. Sorry about that. I could say I was just testing you to see if you were paying attention, but you wouldn't believe me.
Not at all.
All right. Code enforcement officers report, and I'm sorry it says Rich Irwin here. We want to give Jim credit.
Mine says Jim.
That says Jim.
That says Jim. What are you looking at? Oh, you're looking at,
In the,
that's the minutes, isn't it?
no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's last
Yeah.
month's minutes.
All right. Go ahead, Jim.
I'm looking at the agenda.
Well, I'm a new guy, and been here, I think, 3 weeks, something like that, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So I'm still learning, and I was handed a milk crate full of 52 building permits, active, so I'm going through them and trying to sort everything out of who all the players are and what's going on. So far, this month, it's not gonna be a lot. There were two building permits issued, one renewal, one property search, inspections, there were 2 of them, and pre-site visits were 3, and actually the pre-site visits were 5. And there's one stop work order I didn't put on, but it's still there, and it's gonna be there a while. So that's pretty much all I have.
Okay, well, welcome aboard. This is your first monthly report. And I can tell you, I've worked on a couple of things with Jim, and I think he's going to do a heck of a job for the town. I very much appreciate you coming on board.
Thanks.
And
Well, Rich is a hard act to follow.
speaking of Rich, he sent me, well, let's get this through first.
You sent an email?
Yeah.
We talk 3 times a week, so.
Oh, I'm sure. And you know what? And he's more than willing to do that, even though he,
Oh, absolutely.
so. All right, I need a motion to accept the code enforcement officer's report.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. All right, Rich had sent me an email this morning. You knew it was coming, I have a feeling.
Yeah, well, keep going.
Okay. Good morning, Bill. I just wanted to take a moment to thank you and the board for giving me the opportunity to work with you and the town. I feel that we have made some improvements and updates that are beneficial to both the residents and town government. There is a solid foundation to build from as the town moves forward. You are in good hands with Jim, and I will always be available to lend a hand. It was a pleasure getting to know everyone. You are all professionals and easy to work with. Please pass this along to Carrie and the board. And I gave a short but response. Good morning. Likewise, we enjoyed working with you and the professionalism you brought to the position, which is true. So, anybody wants to add anything to it, feel free. But they wanted me to share with the board, so I figured I'd do it, share with the board in front of the public. Okay. What's next? Town clerk.
All right, so we had 1 marriage license issued and 1 dog license. I'm not sure why it says 1, because there were definitely 2. So I need to figure that out.
Okay.
But apparently the system doesn't like them. I don't know. There were 2.
Okay, there were 2. We'll take your word for it.
Marriage is
The difference is $6, so.
Actually, yeah.
Okay. Need a motion in favor of accepting the clerk's report?
So moved.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay. Town tax collectors report. Are we gonna see you after this month?
Okay, I collected $1,573,883.77. May penalties was $2,849.25 for a total penalties of $6,355.84. There were 113 unpaid bills, and I had my settlement with the county last Wednesday.
Cool. How did that 113 stack up against prior years? Just say yeah, it was good.
Yeah, about the same.
Not what I heard from the treasurer's office, that a lot of towns are running better than they have in previous years.
Yeah, I don't think they were really that 113. I don't feel that many to be
No.
turned in.
Because they'll pay them off before they come
Yeah,
up.
they will.
And the tax auction we had last month was one of the smallest in memory. There was only one piece of property in Conesville, and then that was pulled out of the auction.
And some people also wait because they can set up a payment plan with the county.
Right.
Even though it's another penalty.
But the county doesn't want to take the people's land. What they want to do
Right,
is
they
get
want-
it back on the tax rolls and let the people that originally own it.
Yeah.
I'll say something about what you just talked about, but first I'll ask for a motion to accept the collector's report.
I'll make the motion.
Lori makes the motion. Second from Bob. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. This is a good segue, I suppose, to bring this up. The Supreme Court has ruled, I think it was unanimously, that when a municipality, depending on the state, municipality, in our case a county, takes a piece of property for non-payment, they have every right to auction it off or sell it or whatever it means they have in that particular state, or whatever their options are. But now the Supreme Court has decided that's great. You have to recover what you're owed. The rest you have to give back to the owner that defaulted on their taxes. That's going to take a little bit to set up, but that really will put a crimp on some of the revenue that comes in. And I'm not questioning whether that was right or wrong, but it's something that we're going to have to work with, whether we like it or not. So like the auction we had last year brought in almost $2 million. Those days are gone. So I kidded around with our treasurer. I said, I guess we're in the real estate business now. We get our commission and give the rest to the person who didn't pay. So there is, and I suspect there's people that are looking to sell their place, can't sell it. They're going to let it ride on the tax, go out for auction and get the difference, if there is a difference. Because when there is no difference, we're just on the hook. So anyway, that's just an aside. Okay, thank you, Diane. Sewer District Operators Report.
All right, the average daily flow rate for the month of May was 4,105 gallons a day. The heating system has been fully shut down for the season. No leaks from the boiler have been noted. Flow meter fluids have been cleaned. Propane level is at 48%. Kingsley Power Group was on site to perform a dye test on the generator at the main pump station. They advised that they would have to get authorization from the manufacturer to complete the warranty work, and they will advise when they have received that authorization. The town has sent out letters of the drafted by the sewer department advising of upcoming residential tank inspections. If there are any questions, reach out to Travis.
Okay. Motion to accept the Sewer District Operators Report.
So moved. I'll second it.
Second by Carl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay. Historians Report. Kim, what's going on?
Oh, no, just kidding. On Friday, I'll stand up. On Friday, we had our unveiling next door at the Cushman House for the Peter Cushman Historic Marker. There were nearly 50 people there. I actually never got a definitive count, which was awesome. People from all walks of the community came out. We had people who've lived in the house. We had descendants. It was a really, I think, a nice event, and people seemed to really appreciate the efforts being made to celebrate and commemorate local history and connections in the community. That's a major thing that happened. We are still awaiting information from Conesville Castings when our creamery marker will be done, but we will have another unveiling for that. We are working on 2 additional applications for historic markers going into next year. One will be for the church and the other for the schoolhouse right down the road next to the store. So we're gathering research on that. The Historical Society is working on an oral interview project along with a lot of other little things. And I mean, I respond to questions as I have them in my email or phone calls or whatever. There's been a few of those, and I think that's it.
It's a lot. That's it, doesn't describe it well. It's a lot. And we're thankful for what you're doing. Can I have a motion to accept the historian's report?
I'll make a motion.
Carl makes the motion. Second. He was first. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Carried. Okay. Highway superintendent's report. Tyler, you're up.
So May was pretty busy, most every month is, but these guys, the work they put in this past month really shocked me. I'll just say that right now. These guys are doing a very good job. When I ask them to do something, they're getting it done, and that, you know, it really means a lot. They ditched, changed culvert pipes, cut shoulders, and built up and capped Schussel Road down off the mountain, full length. I mean, did a really good job on it and did it quick. Something we really had to get done, and they did it very good, really fast. They ditched and regraded Goodfellow. Not perfect, pretty good, get us through. You know, we gotta just kind of, a lot of our roads are in poor shape, so we're trying to slowly touch them up as, you know, as we go. We're trying to get them, you know, they're not gonna be great, they're gonna be better than they were, but they're not gonna be great. It's gonna take a couple of years to get stuff going. But they got Goodfellow done. They changed the rotten culvert pipe that collapsed this winter on Ackley Road. They got that all done. They reditched that whole road too. They cut shoulders and ditched on Wood Road. They regraded, touched that whole road up. Same thing on Van Aken. They swept all the hard top roads. They cold patched everything. They patched the dirt road potholes multiple times. We're just trying to touch them up until we get there with the grader, which takes some time. Got all the American flags up, trying to take a little more pride, you know, got all new ones, got new poles. We did West Conesville, Manorkill here. We added a few, just trying to make the place look a little nicer, that's all, you know, take some more pride in it. I scheduled with Gorman, I was speaking with Bill about it. We're gonna double seal from like our shop up to above Billy Tompkins Farm. It's gonna be a double seal this year. Gorman's gonna do it. We're doing the whole East Conesville Road from one end to the other. It's gonna be a total double seal. We're going to do the section of Bush Road that's still there. That hasn't been done since 2006, and we're trying to save it, especially with the gravel bank with the heavy truck traffic. I'm worried it's going to just fall apart if we don't do something. And we're going to do tolls. That's starting to get in poor shape, but by doing tolls, that'll get most of the South Mountain around back, you know, to a really good condition for the most part. You know, we're trying to finish off the end. You guys have done the middles, we're trying to finish it off. But like I said, these guys, the work they did this month was astounding. This isn't all of it. I mean, they've been mowing roads. I don't. This is just the key points. But I just really wanted to touch on that. You know, the work they're getting done. But that's pretty much it.
Since I've been here, this is by far the best crew that we've had, and
They're working
best
for
led
it.
and best leadership that they've had.
And just so the public knows, they are working 410s. I am in the office on Fridays. I go in for a few hours, 3-4 hours, trying to do stuff in the quiet. So if you're trying to get a hold of me on a Friday, try to do it in the morning. You know, if there's something going on. I just wanted to touch, just so people know. You know, I do get a lot of calls in the afternoons on Fridays. I'm not getting them, so you know, I won't get them until Monday. So I just wanted to touch on that too.
Okay. Can I have a motion then to accept the highway? You made it, you seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. All right, the next thing is the Supervisor's County Report. And I do have a few things that I wanted to talk about. What's that? I can go home and get this abuse, I don't have to stay here.
You gotta keep you on your toes.
Yeah, you guys do. The subject is migrants, and there's a reason I use that word. Because I think it's the word that the state is using, and I want to avoid anything that's inflammatory or derogatory about the subject or about the people that are involved. So, as you may or may not know, that the county board passed a resolution basically telling the state, we don't have the means to take care of these people if you send them here. And it's not against them or who they are or what they are. At least that was my intent when I did followed up with the emergency declaration and the emergency orders. And nowhere will you see a comment saying that we're opposed to these people, we have anything against them. I personally don't. And that, but we have 2 motels in the county that are operating, and they're almost entirely filled with DSS clients. So I don't know where we would put these people. So that's why we did the emergency order. I was asked to do it, and I agreed because I think it was a good idea. 30 other counties have done that. Now I understand New York City's filing a temporary restraining order against the 30 counties, as well as each of the county leaders, which would include me, so I'm named in it. I have no problems with it. I spoke to council, and council says, your reason that you just don't have any room here is good. It's better than some which just say, we don't want them, because that's not a good idea. The thing is, they're pushing hard to, at least New York City is pushing really hard to make this go away. In other words, send them up north to the other places, even though they say they will pay, and the state says they will reimburse. But they don't. But I haven't been served with any papers, and it's been a week now. But I get a call from their attorney. What are you going to do about this? You're going to shut down? First of all, you haven't even, the judge hasn't even ruled on it. It's just a piece of paper saying they want a temporary restraining order. And the judge that they brought it to is one that's already told Rockland County, Orange County, or upheld those 2 counties when they questioned why people were being brought in. So we don't do that. We just say if somebody has a place, we want to ensure that they are able to take care of them and that they have the funds to do that. In other words, so they don't leave us in the lurch taking care of them. Because this could ruin our county. I mean, we don't have a small county. It's only 29,000 people, give or take. So that's where we are. I was on a Zoom call last week, with Governor Hochul. And you could see her, she could see you, and I don't blame her. She didn't want to get into arguments or back and forths with some of these people, my counterparts in the other counties. You had to type in your question, which was fine. So I put in a question, and they asked, Bill Federese from Schoharie County wants to know, and this was public, so I'll share it. She said this had to be completely transparent, so I'm being transparent. So I said, you say that you would like to put them out as farm labor. You know, a lot of these people came from cities, but you put them out as farm labor. And what happens when the season is over? She said, well, there's probably a lot of restaurants that want them. But the truth is, some of them may disappear into the underground economy. I'll give her credit, she was honest, but geez. In other words, they're not going to pay taxes. And it is a pretty nasty thing. A couple people have sent, I'd say 3 people sent negative emails, but at least 40 have sent, maybe not always for the right reason, but have sent emails saying we did the right thing. One person, I'm being open, accused me and a few others. They put this in the same context as the Holocaust and Nazis. I'm not even going to respond to that. I mean, they put that in the same conversation. It's ludicrous. Somebody from Gilboa, by the way. I won't narrow it down any more than that. Another person stated that I don't even want to say, but it was said that, claimed that we were racist and that we only wanted white people here. And that was and this is, and you know what, I take offense at that. My son's significant other is a Mexican-born lady. We like her, love her to death. We wouldn't think like that in a heartbeat. So she does it then again, when anybody brings up something like that, in making an argument against you, your whole argument, the credibility is shot because you're going on personal attacks more than anything else. I don't feel that way. You don't know
me.
me.
Last 12 years.
What's that?
It's been a canned answer for the last 12 years. If you don't agree with somebody, you're a racist.
Or a fascist, we got that one too.
It's,
They love to do that. So, but anyway, the point I'm making is it's a very charged situation. I'm kind of proud that the county has done its best to not get down to that level. I don't agree with that, and I wouldn't sign up for it. On a more positive note, I mentioned once or twice that we have an economic development opportunity, but I couldn't talk about it. It's been in the paper. Matt knows all about it, for sure. See, he didn't talk, he just put the remember the old Best Western Roadway Inn and whatever it was after that over in Conesville? Place was caving in on itself, but you know, like, but not the structure. The structure's great. And there were some people said we would never be able to do that. Do what? We would never be able to find a buyer for it. It was a tax liability of about $450,000 if the county is owed. Nobody was going to sign up for that. And the bank was really sketchy, let's put it that way. Noah Bank, down, I think they're in New Jersey. We couldn't find anybody to work with the buyer and the bank because the president was in jail for extortion. I mean, this is, you can't make this stuff up. But anyway, there is a buyer. His name is Mohammed Jan, and he owns a very large venue in Yonkers, New York. And he renovated, no help from the government, he renovated a 650-person ballroom where they do weddings and special events. And they restored it to its original look. I think it goes back to like the 1930s, something like that. It's called the FDR Ballroom. And but he's also in the restaurant business. And I didn't go down. I couldn't make it, but a couple people from Conesville went. And of course, I'm sure he put the best out, but he put a tremendous spread out there. The food was all top rated. And what we did was, it was me and Werner Hampel from Supervisor in Conesville, and Mayor Becky also to a degree. We got together with this individual and say, what do you need to get here? He says, I can buy the place, but I can't carry the taxes. If you put the taxes on it, it's a non-starter. So what we did was, we got creative. We made a deal with him, because we want this place to go up, and we can start collecting occupancy tax. We can start having people spend money in restaurants that are staying there, parents that drop their kids off or visit their kids in Conesville. And I'm also finding out that we have a supporter of the Cooperstown Chamber of Commerce, because then they have those I forget what they call it, where the kids come in to play ball, they come all over the country, the families. There's no room. And if there is room, you're paying $350 a night just for an average room. They'll send them to Conesville. It's not, it's a hike a little bit, but it's not that bad. So the market is there. It really is. I mean, we're having, and I don't know if you know, there's a couple of places in Schoharie County, Sablewood, not the Carrot Barn, the Tater Barn, Old Tater Barn. And that's a big thing. People from outside the area like to go to these places for venue weddings. And a lot of them are from downstate or outside the area. So what happens? They get on a bus that somebody's hired and they get taken up to Schenectady or Amsterdam or Albany. We're losing that. Nobody wants to travel that far. So this would more than accomplish what we're trying to do, is to keep these people here and spend their money, of course. So we put together an agreed to, we have to finalize it, agreed to, but he's already started, he bought the place. An agreed to the progression of events that have to happen. And as he meets this milestone and that milestone, his tax liability is reduced. For what? But he still pays taxes going forward. This is for the past due $450,000. However, if he gets, I think there's going to be about 13 or 14 milestones. It could be things like get all the debris out of there, stop jumping around, hire people, get the rooms open. By the way, he wants to put in a ballroom that'll hold about 200. It's already there, but it needs total rework. Place that people can, a good restaurant that people can go to. So it's all a good thing. So as he meets those different milestones, that takes a little bit off of his liability. And I don't think it's going to happen. But let's say he doesn't cross the finish line. Then he's on the hook for everything. You know, the promise was, you've been relieved of this, but you got to keep going. And from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is he's had a schedule. They never had so many dumpsters going back and forth between the hotel and the transfer station over in Conesville. And plumbers, electricians in there. But overall, those basic things are in really good shape. But every window in the building is destroyed. Some people was vandalism. Some people that were ordered to board up the places drilled holes right through the plywood into the glass. They didn't care. It was obscene what they did to that place. But he has plans to renovate the whole thing to the way it was. There'll be 72 rooms that are going to be well maintained. And by the way, they're going to hire local people. They even we're going to partner with the SUNY Conesville, who has a hospitality kind of curriculum there, where they'll get jobs as interns, paid jobs. They should work for free. But I mean, there's a ready labor force there. There's even people that used to work there until the previous owner just ran it into the ground and didn't pay the taxes. So that was what I was talking about. This has a spiral effect that it's nothing but good. I mean, even visitors to Howe Cavern, that's the second most visited natural attraction in New York State. Only Niagara Falls is greater. A lot of those people go make day trips at it, but they'd rather stay. Go visit our restaurants. And we do need economic development. This is one of the cheapest, easiest ways to bring dollars into our local economy. People visit, and hopefully they leave their money behind as much as possible and come back again. So it's all good. There was nobody on the entire board that had any objection to that. So we're moving along. I hinted at that for 2 months, so I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to jinx it. Okay. Need a motion to accept the supervisor's county report.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Lori. Carl seconds it. All those in favor, say aye. I'll say aye too. Okay. But Peter's been waiting for it. He is requesting a variance for putting up a garage, and I'll let Peter introduce. Can you come on up and talk, Peter, about what you want to do? And we have two people here that would be involved in
I already
this.
had Tyler come up and Jim
So,
and Bill. And basically what I'm looking to do is put a small garage, 20 by 20, steel, right where I've been parking my cars for the past 44 years. It's too close to the street center line, so that's the reason for the variance. Behind the stone wall in front of my place. It's either that or I gotta park at Kyle's. But that's basically, I want to keep it small because I don't want it sticking out like a sore thumb either.
no, I hear you. You guys have any comment on it?
I see no issue. The law, the way I understand it, on, your center line distance, it's kind of a general thing for us. It's like 25 feet from the center line, over, unless they're just stone wall. And if they're just stone wall, then there's a fine print where it's the wall. So that's why a lot of your roads are narrow.
Yep.
It's past the wall, that road's, I don't foresee it getting that big. So I see no issues with that.
No, and generally when you have that kind of deal, the thing that is of most concern, and it isn't in your case, is impairing the sight,
Yeah.
line of sight.
Yeah, if you're on a corner lot, that would be
Yeah, not good.
a non-starter.
Right. You guys, ladies, have any questions for Peter?
Nope, you've done his homework already. Those guys are okay with it, I would say let them do it.
All right, then how about a motion agreeing to the variance request?
Okay.
I'll take the okay, is the motion,
That's
you
right.
second it. Okay. All those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Any
Thank you.
opposed? Carried. It took you more time to put that together than it put it together.
This is if I can ever get it done.
Well, you're on your own now.
Pretty painless.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That was good. The next thing here we have is the April Supervisor's Budget Statement, which I sent you a copy of each, and I have a written copy here. Also, if you would like to, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary in April's budget statement. So, if you don't, or if you have some comments, we'll entertain them.
I need a motion.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Lori makes it, Bob seconds it, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Now, like I said, I did a budget amendment after I sent out the draft agenda, which is, that happens sometimes, it's why it's a draft. There's nothing really out of the ordinary there, we didn't have a need to make any major changes. But again, $1,700 within the general budget. I mean, this isn't new dollars, they're new tax dollars. There's another $200 in highway and $300 in the water budget. So, you've seen this, but I'll give you a chance to look at it a little bit more if you wish. Questions, comments, motions?
Pretty cut and dry. Need a motion, need a roll call.
Yep. Actually, you don't, but we will continue the tradition.
Okay.
When you borrow money, you need a roll call. But no, that's fine, we can do the roll call.
Supervisor Federici,
Aye.
Councilman Fancher,
Aye.
Councilwoman Matthijs,
Aye.
Councilman Proudman,
Aye.
Councilman Smith,
Aye.
So motion. Okay. We have ARPA reporting here. All I have to really say about that is that we contracted with a firm that we talked about that you gave me the authority to do the ARPA report. We're small. This person was recommended, or company was recommended to me by Supervisor over in the town of Rome, and he's almost as small as we are. And he said they were great, and she was. I had about a 15-minute meeting, and the next day I had the ARPA report. It would have taken me 2 days to put the thing together, and maybe not get it right. I mean, when you're dealing with the federal, it's just, but they do it all the time. So, and I haven't gotten a bill yet either. That's just information. Our bond anticipation note comes up for renewal or payoff on July 14th for the loader, correct. And the same as last year. It's a matter of timing. It's they're not going to give us an interest rate right now, considering how volatile interest rates are. Actually, it's only volatile in one direction, and that's up. So the person I'm working with at the Bank of Coxsackie said, I'll have something closer to the expiration date. But that's a problem for us. Like it was last year, it's the same thing. takes a while to get the lawyer to put, we got to do this every year, put together the paperwork. I mean, it's about 12 pages. I'm sure it's a template where he puts most of it in that he already has. But the key element here is the interest rate. And we're not going to know that probably till late June if we're lucky, quite possibly the first week in July. So we're under the gun. We'll still have time to approve a resolution like this. This one here I gave you guys is from last year. And it's almost identical probably to what we're going to have to do. But I'm asking for approval to give a verbal okay on any interest rate that is 5% or less. I can't believe it would be, well, I shouldn't say that, who knows? But they do like to lend to municipalities because we're good risks. So they do cut you some slack there. But if I wait to put the paperwork together after you approve at the July, I think it's July 10th meeting, that's not enough time. So you still would have the opportunity to say, nope, don't want to do it, and vote it down when you get together. So, but I need to start that, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, have a conversation with the person at the bank.
I need a motion.
I need a motion, I'm asking for a motion that would give me the authority to verbally agree, pending board approval, anything up to 5%.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Say aye. Okay, carried. And the point here is, if we have second thoughts, you still have that option to shoot it down. It's just a matter of me getting the paperwork together. Thank you. I don't know if you know it or not, it's out there. A while back, I think it was the beginning of this year, maybe a little bit before that, we were requested by a number of people along Potter Mountain Road between Beaver Hill and Bear Kill to lower the speed limit. And I said Beaver Hill.
You said Bear Kill.
No, between
Between
Beaver Hill and Bear Kill. I said both of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Anyway, a group of people that live or work along that road signed a petition, and that's the right way to do it, asking for the speed limit to be reduced to 40 miles an hour. And I have to admit, they probably made a good case, particularly farm equipment. And there's people walking or doing work, particularly agricultural work, and there are people that fly through there. I don't know how you could possibly do 55 miles an hour on a steady basis and not end up in an accident. But there's some who tested, I suppose. Having been on the rescue squad for 10 years, I tell you, I had, and you probably remember Bob and Carl, there's been more than one accident on that stretch of road. One of them was really nice. Yep. So the state sent out their 2 engineers, as is their custom. But this one was different. Last time they went and looked at accident reports, because we did this on another stretch of Potter Mountain Road a couple of years ago. And they reduced it to 40. There's that really steep hill going out of the county, and I could see that. But all they did was they started driving and lowering it in 5-mile-an-hour increments to see where they thought it was. I mean, they paid engineers just to drive and say, yeah, this is good. I mean, I could have done that. But anyway, they agreed to lower it from 55 to 45 miles an hour, which I'm happy with. I mean, I would have liked 40. And I spoke to Jim Ryan, who was sort of like the guy who organized this, and he was happy with that. So they're happy, I'm happy. I tell you the truth, I drive on it even at 45 miles an hour. So there's some turns there that make you think. But anyway.
By her house.
And people still pass you.
Oh yeah, on that sharp turn at the bend? Oh yeah. Can you? I remember a motorcycle accident where they swerved to avoid Tom.
Actually hit Tom.
He did, but he walked away from it.
Yeah, but he got hit.
Yeah.
He clipped him, he didn't get all the way around.
It was a gentleman, I use the term loosely, but a gentleman that was working over at URA, and he wanted, when the deputy came to take him to the hospital, he said to the deputy, you think I could sue that gentleman? He said, you have problems on your own. I've got 24 unanswered tickets here that you have to show. 24 tickets! But I couldn't believe it. You have 24 tickets you don't show up for,
And he's still driving.
and the judge released him on his, for a promise to appear.
And it wasn't his motorcycle.
No, well, you remember all that, right?
I came up on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I called
I was
it in.
back in the ambulance, I didn't. But anyway.
I called it in.
All right. Tire Day. We have tentatively scheduled Tire Day this year to be July 22nd. And I'll get the word out, unless somebody thinks that's a bad day, but I thought it was pretty good. I'll get the word out on the website, put it on bulletin boards, but more than anything else, hand it out to our customers at the recycling center. So they will be able to plan, because some people are already asking about it. I know I've got a few tires to bring. The difference, well, it isn't that much of a difference. We didn't enforce no rims. We were told you need to enforce no rims on the tires, or we will reject the entire load. So I'm not going to pay for these things to go back and forth, because we took a truck with a tire with rims, and no large truck or trailer tires. We sort of pushed that one too. And we got away with it for a year or two, but historically, we've never taken those huge tires. And we can't do it.
You know what? Well, we always had a size category.
Yeah, 22.5 inches, I think is the
Right.
size. So if you got like a large tractor or something like that, sorry, I was hoping you could top, when we have room, I always think you could top it off with whatever you got, but especially if it's on the top of it, they'll see it right away.
I don't remember us ever having room.
No, once or twice. I think during the pandemic we had room.
Did we?
Yeah, but no, not much. So anyway, that's on the 22nd, and we'll schedule that. You know what I think I'll do, though? We'll have a discussion, but maybe we should set it way ahead of time so people can plan on it. I don't know what you're planning. You got the tires in your garage. You're going to get rid of them around back. All right, the next thing, a lot of this is just point of information. A grant for about $122,000 has been approved for engineering services for the Manor Stream Bank rehabilitation over at Pangman Road. If you recall, there was some concern about it. I think it's about 2 years now. I think it was after that big Christmas Day storm. Anyway, there was a stream bank failure over there. You could see it from the bridge. It didn't threaten anybody's residences, but I can understand people being concerned. So this is not to fix it. It's just a $121,000 study to figure out how to fix it and how much it'll cost. These things are prohibitive. I wouldn't be surprised if it's $750,000 to $1 million. If you recall the grant we got for the park, that included about $600,000 in stream bank restoration, and they did a nice job. But that's only like a 200 or 300 foot stretch. Can you imagine that? Yeah, it is. But anyway, you might see some activity going on there, and I'm very happy that Conesville got something from the Schoharie Watershed Stream Management Implementation Program, which is, this is just a long word for a group of us at SWAC, of which we are a member. So I want to start pursuing some more grants with those folks, because they get it, it comes from the DEP. We're in the home stretch here. I have a resolution here, which was sort of last minute, and it didn't make Carrie's list because I did it after she put it together. I'm taking the blame here. But I had to do it. This is another thing about New York State. They continually, this is for a grant that we received, I think 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and for mobile home replacement. And I think that one was $400,000. And they're all good stuff, but little hoops that they put you through. And it doesn't end. We're done. Thank you. It's been good. You want to do a final audit? Do your audit. They do. Next year we want to see. they go to the other thing. I think it's just to keep people busy, to be honest with you. So, they identified that we need to have an American with Disabilities Act's grievance procedure. Okay, no problem. I said, how come you didn't tell us that when we did this? Well, that wasn't in place then. So they want us to put this in place, even though the grant was closed out about, let's see, a year and a half ago, something like that. But that's New York State. They said, well, we want you ready for the next one. Okay, it's not a big deal, we should do it anyway, so you can't make this up. Do you want to read it, or do you want me to read it?
I'm not gonna read it.
Go ahead.
It's even sound thrilled.
I told you this morning I would read it, but your voice sounds a little bit
It's a
better.
little bit better than it was this morning. Alright, so, whereas the town of Conesville has previously applied for and received housing rehabilitation and mobile home replacement grants in New York State exceeding 1.4 million, and whereas the town of Conesville will continue to pursue similar future available grant opportunities, and whereas since the last grant agreement with New York State and the New York Office of Community Development now requires applicants have in place an employee grievance procedure that addresses complaints by employees regarding adherence to the provisions of the American with Disabilities Act, therefore be it resolved that the Conesville Town Board adopt a grievance procedure for the American with Disabilities Act complaints by employees. Said procedures are attached to this resolution.
You don't have to read those. Anybody who wants to see them, you're welcome to see them, but you don't want them. You can, but you don't want them. So, as I said, we have to do it if we want to be considered for other grants. No problem. We're not really giving away anything, so why not do it? And it's not a bad thing anyway. So I introduced it, and I need a council person to second it and then take a vote.
I'll second it.
Okay?
Okay. Councilman Fancher,
Aye.
Supervisor Federici,
Aye.
Councilwoman Matthijs,
Aye.
Councilman Prodman,
Aye.
Councilman Smith.
Aye.
Hey, Carrie, I need this completed before tonight so I can... No, I mean, they're nice. The lady I dealt with was very nice. But she said, I just have to do it, and I understand that, so I don't get upset at her. Anybody, really, this one's not worth getting upset over. All right, Couchman House, update. You stole most of my thunder, Kim. So I'm not gonna repeat what you said.
Where's the Chris Pegg thing?
Oh, I could have read that.
Yeah.
We had enough whereas tonight.
Yeah.
I even said, there's only 2 more left. No, I think it was really nice, though. He commended us, along with some of the out-of-town guests that we had from Stone Fort and Schoharie Historical Society. I thought it was nice, and I think Kim did a hell of a job with getting the grant from the Pomeroy Foundation. Thank you. Nothing really else to add at this point. That is the extent of what I have. Do any board members have anything they want to bring up?
Have grass cutting bids from them? Can we take that?
Yeah, well,
That was just
no, well, yeah, I'm looking to see, okay. Yeah, that's still in there from last time, but I can tell you, we're trying to get somebody to cut the grass around the entranceway to the town barn. And we have 3 people, and I think this is the way to go in the future. You don't want to give the whole nut to somebody. It's too big for most people. So, which is a good thing. So, look, we have some flexibility if something happened to somebody. Well, something happened. We have another place that we would like, as Tyler said, making people feel good about their job and where they work. Cut the grass instead of letting it get tall. And I asked 2 of the 3 people that we've hired to do the mowing this season. They never got back to me. And I apologize, I didn't follow up to them.
I thought, I couldn't look.
But I'll still work
I couldn't
on
look
it.
at it. and-
I'll still work on it. Maybe we can break somebody in and see how they do in that little job.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. It's just,
I know,
Take some pride in it, that's all.
exactly. So, yeah, I wasn't gonna jump on that, but that's okay, I'm glad you did ask me about it. See, board member input. Anybody else have anything? Robert? Okay. Then I will ask for a motion to review the invoices. And then after that, does anybody have any business they want to bring up? The reason I say that is people can stick around, otherwise, they can stick around and watch us look at invoices. Okay. Motion to, and we have a second. Ooh.